A lot has changed since you got your last perfect vehicle. You met someone. You got a dog. Your best friend met someone too. You got new interests. A new hobby. You felt a little more adventurous. You found a bigger hobby. You explored a little more. You needed a vehicle that reflected the new you. You found it. The all-new Toyota Corolla Cross. Your new perfect.
Beaucoup de choses ont changé depuis votre dernier véhicule idéal. Vous avez rencontré quelqu'un. Vous avez adopté un chien. Votre meilleur ami a lui aussi rencontré quelqu'un. Vous avez découvert un nouveau passe-temps. Une nouvelle passion. Vous vous êtes senti un peu plus aventureux. Votre passion a pris une nouvelle dimension. Vous avez exploré un peu plus. Il vous fallait un véhicule à l'image de vos nouveaux besoins. Vous l'avez trouvé. La Toyota Corolla Cross. Votre nouvel idéal.
Grit. Sure, it's mud and rocks and sweat and all that. Always will be. But grit is also an idea. An idea that changes the way we see and the way we do things. With an available iForce Max hybrid powertrain, the all-new Toyota Tundra is the new definition of grit.
Attaquer les corvées, couvert de boue, de sueur, ça définit la ténacité, depuis toujours. Mais la ténacité, c'est aussi une façon de penser, qui change notre façon de voir et notre façon de faire. Avec un groupe propulseur hybride iForce Max en option, voici le tout nouveau Toyota Tundra, la ténacité redéfinie.
Welcome to the Saville Community Sports Center in beautiful Edmonton, Alberta, as we head after a long week into the final game, the gold medal game for the under-17 boys Canada Basketball National Championship. I'm Paul Sir, along with Patrick Erickson, and we are pleased and privileged to bring you this battle between the two power provinces in the country, Ontario and Quebec. And Patrick, if you had to start with a summary, what do you think the factors will be in this matchup today between two rivals that are very familiar, not necessarily these teams, but that are used to playing against each other?
Familiarity and what you can change, but when it comes to Ontario, what adjustments they can make. Quebec absolutely destroyed Ontario in pool play, a victory by more than 30 points, and that's after they pulled their starters at the beginning of the fourth quarter. So what adjustments can an Ontario team make? That's looked on the U15 side, they dominated. On the U17 side, this is a team that's looked shaky throughout the tournament, but maybe they started to come together. They beat Alberta very handily yesterday in the semifinal. Maybe, as you've talked about in previous broadcasts, as the Alberta team came together, maybe they've developed some chemistry. This is an Ontario team that had no more than a week of prep before this, and it looked like it early in the tournament. So how can they adapt? How much have they gained in chemistry these last couple days, and how can they change against a Quebec team that has been just absolutely dominant in this tournament so far? From Quebec's standpoint, keep playing your game. They're the only team to beat BC. They're the only team to hold BC under 120 points. Oh, by the way, they can score because they're averaging close to 100 points a game as well. Their entire roster, all 12 players, have Division I scholarship offers from the United States. They have players on the Canadian youth national teams. Play your game, just like the Ontario U15 team did. The talent should show up if you're Team Quebec.
Well, I give Quebec credit to be able to draw that kind of talent when you get your very, very best players to show up, because I know Ontario struggles with that. Alberta struggles with that. A lot of provinces struggle with getting their best players because they're choosing other opportunities over the national team. And to Quebec's credit, they obviously have been able to instill a sense of pride in their province, and that this national championship means a lot. They've been impressive. We saw how impressive BC has been, and yet Quebec handled them, I don't want to say easily, but they dominated BC. This is a very, very talented basketball team.
Very talented indeed, and with a especially recent history in the most recent iteration of the Youth National Championships, pre-COVID 2019. Excuse me, girls, boys, U15, U17, Quebec swept the titles in the last set of tournaments. So this is a proud program. U15 struggled. They didn't make the Final Four. So I know that this U17 team is going to want to put up a gold here and keep it strong for Team Quebec as we get set to start our final game. This is game 54 of 54 of what has been a long, exciting, exhausting, but mainly exciting week of basketball. And I can't think of a better way to finish it off than watching half a dozen, probably future pros minimum on this court.
No question about it. It's exciting, and the ball is ready to be thrown up, and we're ready. 40 minutes of basketball left in the national championships. Ontario controls the first tip.
And Justice Hazley, the point guard, will walk it into the front court. Has had a good tournament, but did struggle in that loss to Quebec. Immediately drives in, kicks open three, right corner, in and out. Friendly roll there. That's Hensley Ward Jr. who gets the friendly roll in. Ontario, first blood, 3-0.
Well, the one thing you know about Ontario, they also have a tremendous amount of pride in their basketball. That goes without saying. So they're not going to take that early loss lightly, and you know they're going to be ready to go for this game and ready to come out and compete.
As that pass off the hands of Darius McGlashan and out of bounds, so it'll be turned over to Quebec, and right away while token full court pressure as Ontario backs out of it, but they do pick up the man full court. Sean Duff for Quebec, the team captain, runs point. He'll bring it into the front court. Now Quebec will drive in. To the corner it goes. That is Caceres, one of the aforementioned national team players on the youth team for Canada. He fights his way in and scores. Good first basket there for Quebec. 3-2 Ontario 1 minute into the game.
Well, if you start with applying the eye test to the Quebec team, that is a very impressive group of athletes. They're strong. They're exceptionally strong. You can tell that they are both a combination of both being gifted physically, but also in the weight room, they're training hard. And not just in basketball, but also in the things that support becoming a good basketball player. Strength and conditioning obviously is an important part of the Quebec program.
And that's Artem Bagaj with the free throws coming here after he had 2 offensive rebounds and finally drew enough contact to warrant the foul. So good early start for him. He's 6'10" out of Toronto, and he will miss the first free throw, but they're going to need his presence down low. They have a lot of big players, but he stands literally the tallest, and they're going to need him in amongst another tall team in Quebec as he hits 1 out of 2, Ontario up 4-2. More pressure from Ontario as into the front court they switch the ball handler. Kosaris will bring it across. Now Duff will handle left wing, and they'll rotate it around to the right wing. 13 is Servilis, and he'll drive in. That ball's ripped away, though, and then Hazley grabbed the rebound and is tripped up. Unfortunate tangling of feet there if you're Servilis, the other co-captain of this Quebec team, and he'll get a foul there early on for second foul on Quebec.
Isn't it amazing to go from the U15 gold championship to the U17 gold and just see how much you forget how much players mature in those 2 years. Like, these look like men. The 15s, as athletically gifted and as great as they were, look like boys.
Now,
and it's exciting to think about what those athletes are going to look like in 2 years.
Absolutely. Maybe 1 or 2 players could stand with these guys physically, but not this entire team, as we see every player with big size there. There's a nice pass down low, but again tipped up and in. So 3 offensive rebounds already for Bagaj, and he scores again. 6-2 Ontario, much better start for them. Quebec with the ball. They'll drive in, kick to the corner, shot fake by Carvalho. He'll give it up. Duff now to the right wing. It comes over to Charles. He'll lay it up and in, and a nice drive there. Sam Carrill Charles with the basket, his first, as Quebec down by 2. Now back Ontario, layup missed, and this time Kosaris will clear the rebound and ahead of Bagaj. Quebec into the front court, to the corner, 3-ball, quick from the corner, missed, rebound. Hazley has it ripped out of his hands, and right back to Quebec. Parisio with the ball, he'll launch a shot, miss it, and Ontario comes up with the loose rebound and into the front court. They come, led by Ward Jr. He'll spin into the lane and just absolutely run over his defender. Charging call back the other way we go.
Great defense by Quebec. Getting back, first of all, Ontario pressing the action. Obviously, they want to get the ball out and go. Quebec is going to be pressuring. Ontario's pressuring. So we have 2 teams basically saying we're going to lay it all out on the floor, and you're going to have to beat us. You're going to have to beat us in the full court.
And you love to see it. Again, last game of this tournament for these guys and for everyone at this point. So nothing left in the tank serves any purpose beyond today. Quebec with the ball. Duff up top, working on Hazley. Step back 3, up, good. Oh, my goodness, the captain from Quebec with a nice move, and he finds an open 3. Quebec's first lead, 7-6. Here comes their full court pressure. Token, they pull out of it, and Ontario into the front court. They'll switch the primary ball handler. It's McGlashan. He looks for Hazley. He'll eventually get the handoff right wing, works one-on-one. Now he'll work his way into the lane, throw the layup up glass, and good. Hazley, good start for him.
Nice strong take, but again, the pressure, I would say it's not necessarily what I would call token, but it is meant to slow down and disrupt ever so slightly. But as soon as Quebec gets any kind of an attack lane, they're going hard to the hoop.
Ludovic Tournier is the one who drew that foul, the 6'6" forward. He'll head to the line for 2. Trying to restore an early Quebec lead, 8-7 Ontario. We're 3 minutes and change into this national championship game. We're tied at 8 now after the first make.
While Quebec doesn't have the height overall that Ontario has, they have great matching height, great height all across their team. 6'1" to 6'8" is where they line up, and or 6 foot to 6'8" rather. So this is a very big, but very long, athletic, and again, we emphasize this, very physically strong. This is a physical and strong team.
And they apply some full court pressure again as it'll be walked up. Anderson Cummins will run point this time. He's wearing number 1. He'll toss up to Timothy Ize. He has the ball now, picks it back up, back to Cummins. He'll give it back to Ize, back to Cummins. Now they swing to the right wing. Penetration now to the corner, mishandled by McGlashan, and he's out of bounds. 2 early turnovers on Darius McGlashan in that very same left corner.
You wouldn't look at the first almost 4 minutes of the game and say one team is so clearly superior to the other, but you just get this feeling that Quebec has not just an extra gear, but an extra set of talent that Ontario may not possess. We'll see. Ontario, obviously, like you said, they're ready to play, and they're proof in point right there.
Glashin makes up for his mistake with the steal, but then misses the layup. Duff pulls down the rebound quickly into the front court. Ontario 3-on-3. Duff penetrates, spins, layup, blocked, foul. That one drawn is Oliver Faubert with the foul, and Duff will head to the line for 2. What a spin move that was to get into the lane.
Very, very nice. An Ottawa product. Faubert tries to make the block, but just not successful as at the penetration. Sean Sheldon Duff from Quebec attacked the glass aggressively, and you know, it's just like I said, so interesting to see what maturity does for men, but for young men. But to see how these guys, not just their skill, but the speed at which they execute, is just very, very impressive.
Benali Basil for Ontario is number 11. He just checked in. He started most of the tournament, has come off the bench the last 2 games. Duff hits the first free throw. Quebec leads by 2. Big presence inside for Ontario. He stands at 6'7" officially and is an absolute tank down low. Duff's second free throw misses, and the tip rebound eventually controlled by Quebec, and they have another shot to add to their lead, but turning it over with the steal is Ontario, and as they slow things up, they'll get into the front court. Cummins runs point. He will get it up top to Basil. Basil hands off. That is Ize. Ize penetrates left hand, throws it away. Duff with the interception. Quickly the other way is Quebec, and a dunk thrown down. That one thrown down Parisio. Duff threw it into space, and athleticism indeed. That was a huge slam.
Athleticism on display. You just cannot, again, we talk about it in every game. You have to take care of the basketball. You can't make sloppy passes. You can't take anything for granted. And right now, Ontario is getting disrupted. They're forcing passes into traffic, and Quebec's anticipation has just been too much for Ontario in this little stretch run. It's only 4 points, but Ontario's got to pull it together.
7-2 run for Quebec. Duff missed adding to that as he missed an open 3 from the top. Ontario a chance to stymie this early Quebec little run here. Cummins penetrates into the zone, throws up a shot too strong, and Quebec comes away with the ball. And just like that, they're away 2-on-1. To the lane and with the layup, and good is Bassette of Quebec, and they have their largest lead, 14-8. Right back comes McGlashin. They swing it around. Here's Cummins. Ontario subs coming. Back up top to Cummins. The ball works. He'll work now to the right side. 3-ball launch by Faubert. In and out. But Ize with the rebound. He'll put it back up and in, and that was needed for Ontario to stymie that Quebec run.
Was needed, and it did stymie. However, Quebec right now looks a little bit that was an interesting play. I was not quite sure what the thought was there, if he just made his mind up or changed his mind, but nice shot block by Ontario, and now they have a chance to, I think, close this gap.
And Basil, who just had that block, drives baseline. A nice pass in again for the third time in 5 minutes. Ontario in that left corner's feet are out of bounds. And from our view, I'm not sure they were, but that is the call.
I'm not sure either, but I will say this. As much as I love the Saville Center, I'm not a big fan of the lines around the court, of the solid green with a little gap delineating it from the actual out of bounds. If you're playing, you can easily get confused.
Especially these teams who have at max played probably 3 games in this gym. It's not something that you can get used to easily. Regardless, Parisio throws it away, tipped, and Ize tips it around, and here we come, Ontario, and oh my goodness, what a play by Carvalho, because he denied a wide open player for Ontario who would have had a dunk. That was Hensley Ward Jr. awaiting that pass. Justice Hazley about to check back in for Ontario. They need their point guard back in after their ball control got real sloppy with him out.
You had mentioned something about when we were talking earlier, Patrick, about the how little time Ontario had to be together. It's better, but it's still apparent. Their systems, they don't have the chemistry or the cohesion some of the other teams, and certainly that Quebec has. And I think that's something that is a real disadvantage when you try to get a team together that's playing with all kinds of other teams prior to this tournament.
As Basel missed that shot there, that's where the advantage of the teams like BC and Quebec, where you have all those players with history, and a foul there, and that could easily be an intentional one as Felix Kosteras fouls Hazley, preventing a breakaway layup. It's just going to be a regular foul, and it'll be Ontario ball out of bounds. Ontario's coach asking, where is that? That was a breakaway. That's Brandon Edwards, the head coach for Ontario.
I think it was the right call. I don't think that was intentional at all. I think it was just a player going for the ball, and one of those circumstances that happen where a player darts in between yourself and the ball, and you don't even see them coming out of the corner of your eye.
Yeah, tough call, and they will keep the call on the court. But you like to see the officials come together, at least give it a talk
100%,
over.
100%. Good officiating, good communication.
Mark DK in for the first time for Ontario, wearing number 4. He stands in the corner. Justice Hazley has the ball. Right wing, guarded closely. Now the ball comes up. 3-ball launched. Hensley Ward Jr. No good, but Basel with the rebound, put back and score. And that is a big, big man on the low block to handle, and he scores. Ontario within 2. Quebec quickly the other way, answers right back. 2 points.
Nice, strong take. And again, one of the transition objectives that you have to have is that you've got to sprint back, and too many of the Ontario players were jogging back that last possession.
Justice Hazley had a good look, missed. Now here's Quebec. Up top they go. Kosteras, the U17 Canadian national team player, hands it off, and we got a foul on the floor as Basel bumps his player. That's Stephen Dussault of Quebec, number 23, drawing that foul. That's 3 fouls on Ontario, 3 on each team. 16-12 Quebec, 2:25 to play in the first quarter.
Both teams have really dug in on defense, Patrick. They are, with the exception of 2 or 3 transition baskets by Quebec, Ontario has actually defended pretty well in the half court.
Basel will go take a break after he picks up his first foul. His conditioning has looked like it needed some work throughout this tournament. Big guy. It's hard to continue for a 7-game tournament. He'll take a seat as that shot blocked, but they call a foul as Nyorak was fouled on the shot, and it'll send Kosteras to the line for 2.
Quebec seems to be going with more of a singular rotation, bringing one player in at a time as opposed to groups. We see various substitution strategies as we go through the weekend, and when you get into these kind of gold medal games, especially in the older age groups, it tends to be more selective and specific substitution patterns as opposed to groups coming in.
Kosteras hits the first, attempting to hit both. He does not, and that rebound is pulled down by Ize, and back comes Hazley in Ontario, trailing 17-12. Hazley looks for help, finally finds a screen from Ize, now gives the ball off to him on the pick and pop. To the corner it goes. Hensley Ward Jr. penetrates, runs into a brick wall, and misses the shot as Bissette absolutely stood him up, but is called for the foul.
Ontario's starting to have some success actually penetrating to the middle. They're getting some good shots. They're getting some good looks in the paint. And you see that strategy and you think that's going to pay dividends, because that should end up with having better looks from the three-point line. If you're getting to the middle and you're able to attack the rim, that means you have to send help. And that should free up your teammates for better looks at the three-point shot.
Ward Jr. hits both free throws, and he will take a seat, replaced by number 6. It's Jordan Dixon, the captain of this U17 Ontario team. As Ontario shows a full court press this time, nearly forces a turnover. Quebec does beat it up, but good look there early for Ontario.
Ontario's throwing a bunch of different looks, both in terms of personnel and defensive strategy, and they've had some success in getting to Quebec to turn the ball over.
And they do it again right there, this time in the front court. DK hands off to Dixon, right wing. Dixon penetrates, now will hand off. Hazley shot fake. Now he'll drive into the lane. Layup up and good, and he had 3 defenders around him, and he's able to score. Tough shot for number 2 of Ontario. Back comes Quebec, though, and the layup up missed, and a foul on the shot. Headed to the line now for Quebec is Trunier for his second trip to the line already.
That's where you wish we had the tradition. If we had the capacity, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to work with you, Patrick, to be on this broadcast and the excellent job that our broadcasting team has been doing. But on an instant replay, it would be interesting to see that last layup by Ontario, because that was tough through 3 trees and at full speed. The impressive athleticism of these teams is on full display today.
Both free throws made. As I think we're just going to get, we got a player maybe with blood on him, so Quebec's going to have to make a sub. That's Bassetti, who will take a seat quickly to get that worked on. Parisio back into the game. 19-16 Quebec, just over a minute to play in quarter number 1 of our U17 national title game. BC won bronze. Who will win gold?
Quebec's in a 3-quarter court, 1-2-2, 1-2-1-1 press, and looking to trap, looking to force to the outside. But the way to beat a press is to beat it in the middle. Ontario does that, and they draw a foul. Now they'll be at the free throw line.
Sam Carrill-Charles commits that foul. That's 5 on Quebec. Both teams in the bonus. Just over a minute left in the first quarter. We have not seen a lot of bonus free throw basketball in these 3 medal games so far. This is a surprise, honestly, compared to the previous games.
That's actually a great point. We've seen a lot of free throws in this first quarter. That has been atypical. I'm not quite sure I could pinpoint exactly why, other than there's been a lot of 3-point looks. So when you're shooting threes, that means you're not attacking the rim. That means the likelihood of fouling is less. Good double team by Ontario. Quebec able to get it over and just barely beat the 8-second clock.
And they almost turn it over again, but Quebec ends up with an open 3 that they airball, and Hazley runs down the rebound. Hazley into the front court. Now it comes Ize, penetrates baseline. Now he'll throw to the right corner. Okay, they're going to call the passer out of bounds and say there's no way that DK was out of bounds, but the passer, Ize, just stepped on the line on what was otherwise a really nice play.
That's got to be 4 violations in the first quarter, stepping on the line. Interesting. But you have to give credit to the Quebec defense, because when you guide a person to the baseline, tight to the baseline, the odds of stepping out of bounds go up.
And Quebec is very good with how they funnel you defensively and offensively. That's a nice move right there. Basket scored by Charles, who had just committed that previous foul. So he makes up with it with a layup. And they show a 3/4 court zone. Now Hazley ends up with a wide open 3 left wing. He falls down. He wants contact. Now he falls down as there is contact off ball, but Quebec comes back the other way, and now we get a charge. Bodies all over the place, and it ends up back with Ontario on an offensive foul. Lots of action, no points.
Yeah, that's 1st and 10, I think, after that sequence. There was a lot of bodies on the floor. But there again, when you get maximum effort and big guys competing, you're going to have contact, and you're going to have collisions, and you're going to have falls.
And again, all these players playing their last game of this tournament, and last game for a lot of these players at these level are together. So there's no reason to leave anything in the tank. So you're going to get some bruises as long as you don't really get hurt. And fortunately, knock on wood, we've had a relatively serious injury-free tournament so far. Other than that, you love seeing these kids put their bodies on the line like you've seen just on those plays. More zone pressure in the full court, forces a turnover this time, and here comes Quebec. Duff, right wing, hands off. It opens up for a 3 on the right wing, missed, rebound tipped again, and it comes away to Fulbert, and here's Hazley into the front court, 2 on 3, he'll launch a 3 at the buzzer, misses it. Not a bad look for the end of the quarter, and not a bad quarter for Ontario in basketball, period. Quebec leads 21-18, but frenetic and kind of stop-start first quarter almost, but a good first quarter, I believe, in this championship game.
100%, Patrick. I thought it was a real nice first quarter of basketball, and the reason I liked it so much is because of the defense. Both teams are playing smart. They're playing physical. They're not fouling too much. It's nothing egregious, albeit we had a couple of spills and thrills happen there towards the end. But, it was a real nice quarter for both teams, I thought. I'd like to make a point about the Quebec defense, which I like. It led to the last turnover by Ontario. We've seen the BC U17 team that uses their full court pressure, and they trap and attack hard most of the time under the basket. What Quebec's trying to do is to funnel you to the half court and get you to – actually, they're going counter. They're trying to get you to throw over a defender into the middle with a defender behind, and we saw the result of that the last time. That's a tough pass to make, is to float it in there. And a lot of times, as happened there, you can float it over your player or throw it too short. and the defender can step inside and make the steal happen. So I love seeing the strategies that coaches employ to try to gain an advantage, to try to disrupt their opponent, and try to start building some momentum and get some transition baskets.
And oh, by the way, they're trying to teach 15, 16, and 17-year-olds how to do these subtleties that just honestly did not exist in the game until 15, 20 years ago. And at this level, we talked about it in the previous broadcast, almost unheard of in our times of playing, that these young players can have these fundamentals and see the game the way they do.
And that's a great point. And I think that comes from more coaching and playing at younger ages, and the influence in both Quebec and Ontario. They have such great traditions, and now with players in the NBA, with high-level players from both provinces and bunches of them playing NCAA down south at some of the the high major schools. They have a lot of examples, and they both have rich, deep cultures in basketball, which makes them among the best basketball provinces and states in North America. Never mind just in Canada. We're talking about North America.
Yeah, the talent level, again, this entire Quebec team has D1 scholarship offers to the NCAA, so that should say something to you now, whether or not they take them, go stay up here, whatever. But the fact that they are being scouted at that level is highly, highly impressive, as we have a discussion between referees before we start quarter number 2, with Ontario trailing Quebec by 3, 1 quarter into our U17 national title game. As now they'll go over and talk to the scorer's table and figure things out.
You know, when you enter a national championship, the expectation prior to it almost always is that most of the games are going to end up being between these two power provinces. But it's I think, a tribute to basketball in Canada that it doesn't, you know what, even though that's the expectation, it doesn't always work out that way, because one province, a smaller province, will have a special group of athletes, and they'll show up and they'll make a statement. They'll end up winning the gold. And I can share some Alberta stories, but it's been quite a long time since Alberta on the men's side has won a gold at the U17 level, but they have won the gold before. And but you just have to get the right collection of athletes at the right time, because these two provinces produce so many athletes year in and year out that it's tough for the smaller provinces to compete.
Quebec nearly turned it over as we are underway in quarter number 2, but they are able to survive. Here is Kosaros losing the ball, getting it back. Now he'll drive left hand, 3 seconds to shoot, throws a shot up, misses. Rebound tipped in, eventually won by Ontario. That is Niorka with the rebound, and he's fouled on the floor.
I think what you're seeing right now is the clash of two teams that are physically gifted and have had the week to get together and get better and better. We're certainly seeing the massive improvement from Ontario. But here we go with that pressure again from Quebec. But just to see these two physically talented teams where there's not what I would say a huge physical advantage for either squad, that's leading to what has become, at least to this point, been a very tight game.
Very tight, and it could get tighter here as Dixon is fouled on the shot. Faubert fed him nicely there, and he's fouled on the way up, so he will go to the line for a couple. That is foul number 2 on Tournier, so something to watch for Quebec, who's already committed 2 team fouls 43 seconds in to period number 2. First free throw is up, no good. Ontario cannot afford to leave points like that too often on the board. Those will add up over time and makes those deficits harder and harder to overcome, and they miss them both, and the rebound pulled down by Kosaros in Quebec, and back they come.
Well, I think, Patrick, certainly the sentiment that I believe you have is that Quebec's the favorite. Why wouldn't you think that, given the way they blasted Ontario? There's no other way to say it, earlier in the week. But you can see, number 1, pride, but number 2, chemistry that continues to develop and come out. We have an injured player on the floor, so hopefully nothing too serious.
That's Sader Servilis, the captain, the co-captain, along with Sean Duff of the Quebec team. Is hopefully he's all right. Trainer's working on him. And that is why we have a stoppage of play 1 minute into period number 2. He's going to get replaced, and incoming is Jimmy Toomba who will give him a breather, and hopefully it's just just took like a shot to the thigh or something like that, and he'll be able to walk it off. He is putting weight on both legs, so hopefully the trainer will be able to get him back into the game in short order.
Quebec inbounding on their own baseline, 21-18. Quebec over Ontario so far. Great defensive play, I thought. Apparently not.
Sure looked like a clean block.
Looked clean to me, but someone saw it differently. He's courtside. We'll have to trust that his vision was better than mine.
Dixon.
But I thought that was really well defended, to be honest.
Dixon was the one with the block/foul on Duff, who will head to the line for 3. Wearing number 7 and making his first free throw is Sean Duff, the other co-captain.
You can't state in in stronger terms of how important free throws are. Like when you look here, you've got 3 free throws. If Duff makes all 3, and then the 2 that were just missed by Ontario, that's a 5-point swing on gimmies. Now, I'm not saying shooting free throws consistently is easy, but boy, how important are they when you look at the overall score when you have an overall score of a game, when you have those kind of opportunities to either bring you within 1 or now you're down 6.
Now all of a sudden it's a 2-possession game, pushing 3-possession game. Dixon will walk the ball up for Ontario. He'll hand off to Hazley, freshly back into the game for Ontario in red. Dixon, left wing, drives, picks up his dribble, tosses to the corner. Hazley, 3 right corner, good. Nice pass by Dixon, finds his teammate, and Hazley, the distributor, becomes the scorer.
Nice one-handed pass over the Quebec defense to the opposite corner for the 3.
Now Duff with the 3 from the left wing. It's off this time cleanly. He'll miss it, though, and rebounded by Ontario quickly the other way. And a high, strong pass coming from Ontario's Niorka, way too hard for Ward Jr., and a turnover, Ontario.
You see that guy breaking out in front, but you know it's really hard to gauge your forward motion, your forward speed, along with what's happening down the court, plus with other players crowding around him. So tough. That's a real tough pass to execute.
Cosseras holds ball right wing for Quebec. He'll take in, throw a shot up off the dribble. No, but tips in his own miss. Just too big for Dixon to handle on the glass. And Quebec back up 26-21, 7:50 to play. Hazley throws the shot up and it's bumped and fouled by Duff. And he'll head right back to the line for 2. Really impressed with Hazley's game so far.
Hazley's a smart player. He absolutely baited Duff into committing that foul. Saw the opportunity and executed it to perfection. Ontario looks like they're going to go a little bigger now because and they need to, because Quebec's been dominating the boards. So use some of that size that they have on the bench is really an important, I think, adjustment for the Ontario team.
Now we saw that depth and size pay dividends in half 2 against BC at the U15 gold medal game that Ontario won just before this. Trying to do the double here in Edmonton as Hazley hits both free throws, and Ontario back within a possession, 26-23. Full court pressure, loose pass from Duff, corralled though. Cosseras will get it, and Quebec breaks the Ontario press and scores as Parisot with the finish.
Quebec doesn't look to have many gaps, not just in the type of talent they have, but just in their overall skill set. They just don't seem to have weak spots right now.
Just like the BC team, they basically make you play a perfect game of basketball, and Ward has a pretty perfect drive there. Hensley Ward Jr. gets on the board, 28-25. Ontario back within 3, hanging around.
Ward he's had a nice start to the game.
He has been one of the players that has struggled in this tournament, perhaps playing below his talent level, but in the biggest game of them all, he has showed up so far. Duff misses the 3, rebounded. Parisot throws it up, and he gets a late foul call, and he'll head to the line for 2.
Those are always the mystery calls, and I know there are reasons for it in the rule book, but it's frustrating for players when the play is completed. You have somebody from the opposite team ready to go on the transition, and the whistle gets blown. But that's part of officiating, and it's the right call.
First free throw by Parisot is good. Come back up by 4, 29-25.
Quebec hasn't shot the ball particularly well. They've been scoring mostly around the basket or at the foul line, but they're finding ways to manufacture points so far. And if they start hitting the three, Ontario could be in for a long evening.
Always nice to not be shooting well and still be up 5 in a national title game as Hazley's kick to the corner, finds an open teammate. Three-pointer, no good. Rebound cleared by Parezzo, and Quebec comes back, no numbers. As Kosaras now will penetrate and have it knocked away from behind. Hazley steals it. Nice play by number 2 for Ontario. And another nice play on the other end. A block for Parezzo, but Hensley Ward Jr. cleans up the mess and scores on the inside. He continues his hot start. Ontario within 3. Quebec into the front court. They'll look to penetrate. Duff holds ball left wing. Throws to his teammate in the corner. 3-ball up, missed. Rebound tipped away from Hensley Ward Jr. and put back up and in. Scoring that ball is Dussault, and it forces a timeout from Ontario. Quebec up 32-27. 6:13 to play in quarter number 2.
5-point game, feels like more. Ontario's hanging around. But what Ontario hasn't been able to do yet, I don't think Patrick has put together what I would call a believable, if I can use that term, a believable run. It feels like they're hanging around. It feels like they're hanging on, as opposed to being able to establish a rhythm, establish a flow that like Quebec seems to have right now. Like I said, it's 5 points, but it feels like more.
And we already saw the dangers of just hanging around in the previous game. BC hung around for 3 quarters before Ontario put them away in the 4th, and what scoreline that didn't really reflect necessarily the competitiveness of that game, 90-67. But to that point, Ontario at some point definitely has to ramp that pressure up, get a couple-point lead even if you're down by 1 on that scoreboard. It changes the mindset, I think, if you're a player on that team that's suddenly trailing, especially a team like Quebec that's just not used to being behind in a game.
They're not used to being behind, and they don't want to be behind, and they compete like they're not going to stay behind, or this is the way they carry themselves. It's like with this belief that they're going to break this game open at some point. Ontario, they have to counter that, and they're battling right now, and battling is good, but they've got to do more than just battle. They've got to build some momentum.
And they're going to do it with Hazley taking a rest on the bench, and just like that, Quebec throws on a full-court press and forces the turnover as McLashin turns it over for the 3rd time already today.
Great call out of the huddle by the Quebec coaching staff to get them into the full-court press. We talked about it was more of a 3-quarters court before, but this they did similar to our friends in BC, where they just went after it hard. And Ontario, nice trap in the wing, resulting in a turnover as well.
3-on-1 cashed in by Ontario, who draws within 3. Nice response from Ontario with their own turnover. Kosaras doubled, draws a big double team, and the turnover forced by Ize, and the loose ball, and I think we're going to get a foul. Oof. That could go on either player, as both Quebec and Ontario players on the ground, helped up by teammates. A hustle play there. We'll see who they call the foul on. It's going to be on
Ontario.
It is on Ontario. It looked like their player got to the ball first, but a 50-50 ball. Again, a tough judgment call made by the officials, and Quebec will get it. Both teams 3 team fouls now at this juncture.
5:47 approaching the halfway mark in the second quarter. Ontario keeps hanging around, and you know what? They're forcing some turnovers. They are pestering, bothering, and affecting Quebec's ability to score, which they have done easily all tournament long. Nice take.
And just like that, Felix Kosaras with the layup. Long pass finds Ward Jr. He eventually corrals it, bothered by Kosaras, misses, rebound, grab, and McLashin will head to the line after grabbing an offensive rebound and drawing contact. I think that's on Kosaras. We'll see what number that is on him. I believe that's number 1, but if that's 2, that would be a big, big loss for Quebec. But they do not call the foul on him. It's on Duff, though. That's his second. That would also be a big loss for Quebec. First free throw missed for Ontario. And again, the importance of free throws when you are the team that on paper at least is not the favorite. You have to make these opportunities count.
You really do. You have to do all of the little things right. Like they've had 2 sequences.
Well,
but there again, that's a sequence you love too, is the offensive rebound. One of the things in FIBA that's different is when you only allow the 5 players to line up, as opposed to the old days, and I say the old days, narrower key, and players could line up in all of the hash marks. So you could end up with 3 or 4. You got you bring your bench out and line them up on each side. But you get longer rebounds on missed free throws because you don't have a secondary player screening people out and getting in there for rebounds. So we've seen that a lot over the course of this tournament, I think.
Now was Anderson Cummins with the rebound and then the acrobatic finish. He'll get a chance for a 3-point play. He will cash in, so 2 missed free throws this time turns into 3 points for Ontario, who is suddenly within 2. Again, they hang around. Can they take the lead? They'll need a stop first. They throw a double team at it. High pass corralled by Duff. Duff will have the ball knocked away from behind. I think that's going to stay. It will. But again, that's twice now in quick succession. Duff has had the ball knocked away from behind. Uncharacteristic of him, but it just might be an adjustment that Ontario's made that he's going to have to make his own adjustment to.
Ontario's a very athletic team, and they're utilizing their athleticism to bother Quebec right now, and they're forcing them into making turnovers.
And a very athletic play there as Dussault had a nice spin move, but he couldn't finish. Cummins ball. He will penetrate. Spin right. Good defense by Paraiso. Stops him at the top of the elbow. Now to the corner. Pull-up jumper. Cummins, right wing, good. And we got a tie ball game. 34-34. 4:45. Timeout, Quebec.
You know, I'd be interested in your perspective on this, Patrick. I don't want to say I called it, but I talked about the feel of the game. And Ontario has made that switch into feeling like, well, wait a second, they're playing these guys straight up, and they're playing them evenly. Before, it felt like they were feeling each other out in terms of who was going to assert themselves. Quebec felt like they had the upper hand, like they expected to win, like we were talking about. But now Ontario's they're starting to find a deeper belief that they're able to stop Quebec in the half court. And again, stopping, isn't that interesting too? Transition changes everything. If you're getting easy points in transition, that covers up so much, that covers up so many flaws that you may have on either side of the ball. But right now, Ontario is really bothering Quebec in the half court, and they've been able to keep Quebec from getting into transition like they started to do in the first quarter.
And their defensively, they've been a very good team all tournament. But I'm not going to call them a fluid offensive team now, but their offensive movement is certainly better. But coming from a school that played defense almost exclusively, defense starts everything. And if you can play good defense, the other things can fall into place, as you said. And Ontario's defense has been exceptional, especially in that half court. If they continue to hit the glass and make some shots.
Well, and they're giving no quarter to Quebec, too. Like, they haven't come out of here fearing Quebec at all. They're pressuring them full court, using their depth and their length to counter Quebec's depth and length, and they're bothering them.
Almost forced another turnover there. Now it's Paraiso. He'll throw a layup, and that's blocked and eventually rebounded. Ooh, bad turnover there as it goes right on back to Quebec. That was thrown away by Bagage, who started the game but hasn't really seen much action since the first 5 minutes. Into the lane comes Quebec. They lose the ball, and it's kicked by Quebec, and it'll go over to Ontario. Turnover.
The way that Quebec has been able to score in the tournament is not being duplicated in this game. Ontario is making them look at different ways to score. Critical again. They're not getting transition baskets, so everything's in the half court, and Ontario slowed them down with their press and played great defense in the half court.
Offensive foul there as Anderson Cummins stiff arms his defender to the ground, and that's a foul all day, any league.
Easy call on that one. So now, but Ontario again, they're extending the pressure on every play.
And again, a little five-point advantage with Justice Hazley, their point guard, out right now as Quebec comes back the other way, and the layup is good. Layup scored there by Tumba off a nice drive.
Nice take. Ontario decided not to help on the penetration. Tumba able to finish at the rim. 2-point lead, 36-34, 3:47 to go.
Cummins continues to run point for Ontario. Penetrates, kick to the corner. Hensley Ward Jr., 3, missed. Long rebound corralled by Ontario, and back they come. Here's Duff running point. Played off the ball a lot of yesterday, but he's running more on ball today. And just a careless pass out of bounds gives the ball right back to Ontario.
The effect, now that isn't a deflection, but what that is the effect of pressure, where you rush passes. You see your teammates well covered in the corner, so you want to make a precise pass. You throw it away from his body, too far away in this case, ball goes out of bounds. That's all thanks to the Ontario pressure.
We talk about altered shots. That was essentially an altered pass. 3-ball Ontario, good. That one is nailed by Yorka, his first basket. Ontario leads 37-36, just over 3 before halftime.
We have ourselves a basketball game, and boy, is this fun to watch, and the pressure is really bothering Quebec right now.
And they got it across the timeline with about a half a second to spare. Penetration, thrown up, shot, no good. But getting his own rebound and laying it up, and again missed, but Parisio was there with the scores. Tumba had 2 opportunities, but Parisio picks his teammate up, and Quebec restores a 1-point lead.
There's a good example of Quebec's strength and athleticism by keeping it alive on the board, and even with Ontario having a bit more size, being able to dominate the offensive glass.
Cummins throws ball and now penetrating, and oof, that ball turned over. No, eventually saved by Cummins. Saves his teammate, but then he turns it right back over. Looking for Ward Jr., finds a Quebec hand instead, and a big slam, tomahawk down by Parisio, his second big dunk already today. Back comes Ontario, 3-point lead. It counts the same, but it is a little shaking to see a dunk like that.
It is. That's more than 2 points.
2 points and some momentum at the very least. Ontario goes to a low post game, shot thrown up, and tough shot by Bagage puts Ontario back within a point. Quebec ball, half-court offense. Excellent first half so far of this title game, and that is over and back. They thought it was deflected, and it was not, and it'll be Ontario ball, a chance to restore a lead.
Ontario's done a great job with their trap. It looks, they funneled the Quebec offensive player over half court. You now have both the sideline and the half court line as part of your defense. And they've done a great job of not allowing them to pass up to the corner. So the ball has to get reversed, and it has to get reversed backwards. So that's what led to that turnover.
And Ontario with the ball. Sean Duff was on the bench for all of 20 seconds. He's back in for Quebec, and an acrobatic move there by Yorka, but he could not finish. And Quebec comes away with the ball into the front court. It's Tumba getting his chance to handle the point. He'll hand off. Now with the ball, 23 Dassault. Looking for a teammate. Finds Duff in the corner. Duff drives baseline. Layup blocked in a foul, as several players were in there as Duff draws tough contact and will head to the line for 2.
He's nice. He goes to the hoop strong. He shoots it well. Really has a very nice, well-rounded game.
As Kosteris will recheck in for Quebec, and he might be one of those few Quebec players. I'm not saying he's unathletic, but he doesn't look like that dominant athletic player like a lot of these Quebec players, but there's a reason he's a co-captain. He is fundamentally close to flawless, and he plays the game 100% all the time.
And speaking of 100%, Patrick, both teams are giving 100% right now, and it's been very, very impressive as we have a great, tightly contested game that I think has exceeded expectations, and I'm interested to see how this ends up this half. Can Quebec extend a lead? We saw it with BC. Like they can take a 3-point lead with 1:22, and they can turn it into a 12-point lead by the time the half's over. Can Quebec get a couple of stops right now and get a little bit of a surge, or can Ontario answer?
Hazley with the step-back 3, short. Long rebound, though, right to Hensley Ward Jr. He is tied up, and the ball will stay Ontario. Duff is back on the bench. He's playing with 2 fouls, so they go offense-defense with their co-captain, and a tough drive there, a jump ball, and Ward Jr. might feel hard done by there on that penetration. Timeout, Ontario. 42-39.
Seemed like there was contact, but you're right. I think that's the fine art of being a referee. Was the ball grabbed before there was contact, therefore that's why you called the jump, or did they just miss contact leading to the jump ball? But regardless, we're at 42-39, a minute 12. What do you think? I'm going to ask you a question, Patrick.
Sure.
What do you think that Quebec has to do to assert itself back into the driver's seat in this game?
They need to fix whatever has gone wrong on offense, and I'm not sure if that's changing your point guard. We've seen 3 different players try to initiate the offense, but they've got to figure out, one, Ontario's full-court press. It hasn't caused a lot of turnovers, but it has caused, I believe, a lot of setup problems, and they're not able to initiate their offense as smoothly as they want. So they've got to figure out a way to break that press, and they got to hit shots. Just like Ontario's U15s, they're not knocking down open shots right now, and that is clogging the lane because at this point Ontario is half daring them to shoot from 3.
I think those are all great points. One of the things I like about Ontario right now, and I guess you could say the same thing to a certain extent about Quebec, the majority of there's a nice blend of where their points are coming from. Attacking the rim, mid-range, and three-point shots, off penetration. And that kind of balance means that you're not taking 23s with long rebounds, which, again, we saw in other games, leads to transition baskets.
Justice Hazley back into the game. He misses a turnaround layup. He's 0 for 2 since his return, and here comes Quebec. Into the corner the ball goes. Parisio guarded by Cummins. Up and under he goes. Throws up a shot, misses, almost grabs his own rebound, but Cummins comes away with it, and here comes Ontario trailing by 3 just under a minute before halftime. Hensley Ward Jr. basketball. He'll turn it around. Cummins kicks to the corner. Hazley. Hills take a step back 2, miss it, and the long rebound comes out to Parisio, and here comes Quebec, a chance to extend the lead before half.
Both teams are in a bit of an offensive drought, and I would give the defense a lot of the credit for that reason.
And a miscommunication there, a deflection, as Parisio's pass knocked out of bounds by Cummins, and it'll stay Quebec ball, 14 to shoot, 26 before halftime. Quebec holding on to a 3-point lead, a lead they've held most of the half, have led by as much as 7, have trailed by as much as 2, or 3 on the very first basket of the game. Now with the ball, driving in, knocked away again from behind, and it will stay Quebec ball. But again, Justice Hazley getting behind the offensive player. This time it's Charles who couldn't hold on to the ball, but he is fortunate. It'll still be Quebec ball, 7 seconds now to shoot.
Ontario's guards have done a great job of bothering Quebec's guards. Even when they feel like they've beaten them, they haven't. And you get that flick from behind that Ontario's had several times. So got a timeout now before the half, 18.6 seconds to go. I think in Ontario's case, they've hit a bit of an offensive dry spell. Quebec's done a great job of taking away some of the dribble penetration lanes that Ontario was getting early. And now you're seeing Ontario having contested shots almost every time they get to the rim, and they've been short-arming a lot of them. I think they really have to go back to looking for the kick. And one of the areas that I think they could take advantage of is not just the corner pass, but to the 45-degree. I've seen a lot of times when that 45-degree shooter is open, but they're so fixated or fixed on getting the ball to the opposite corner that they're missing that player at the 45.
Now Ward Jr. often one of those players there. He is a pretty good spot-up shooter. Haven't seen him attempt a 3 yet in this ball game, but also you get that and maybe you get a player flying out at him, and we've already seen Ward Jr.'s athleticism. You bite too hard, he's going to fly right on by you for a layup. So absolutely try to, even if it's not successful, you change the look up, and you now maybe Quebec forgets a little bit about what you're doing before, and maybe you go back to what you had before.
100%. And I think making those kind of small and not so small adjustments is really important.
Turnover inbound pass. Here comes Ontario on the break. Layup up and miss. Tip in miss. Other tip in made. I think that was Cummins. 3rd time's the charm for Ontario, and they will they'll cut the deficit to 1. The last shot of the half, perhaps. Floater good, and what a tough shot that was by Bissett, and that is indeed how we'll end the half. 44-41 Quebec. Offensive funk, suddenly we get baskets both sides, but a flurry to end what was a very, very competitive half of basketball. 44-41 Quebec over Ontario here at halftime. Paul, your final thoughts before we take a quick break.
There's some sort of out of bounds here, so point 2.
Oh, my goodness. Why bother? I mean, yes, they are right. And we inbound it. Now it's halftime. Paul, your
You
thoughts
were
on the
preliminary.
first half?
There was something. No, yeah. Okay. we're at half. We got 44-41. Nice take to give Quebec the 3-point lead as we go into halftime. Ontario, I think, has opened eyes. This is a talented team. You said that right from the start, beginning of the week. This is a talented team that just did not look comfortable together. When you only have a couple of practices, how can you be comfortable together? Well, they're obviously much more in tune with each other. They're playing with more and more confidence. At times you see them being a little hesitant, but then all of a sudden they have a surge. That confidence seems to come back. So great half by Ontario. Quebec, though, hasn't lost its composure, and they have a 3-point lead going into halftime.
44-41, Quebec has the lead. We have one final half of basketball coming up in about 12 minutes' time. Who will win the U17 National Championship? Quebec with the 3-point lead. He's Paul Sir. I'm Patrick Erickson. We'll see you shortly for the final half of the tournament.
A lot has changed since you got your last perfect vehicle. You met someone. You got a dog. Your best friend met someone too. You got new interests. A new hobby. You felt a little more adventurous. You found a bigger hobby. You explored a little more. You needed a vehicle that reflected the new you. You found it. The all-new Toyota Corolla Cross. Your new perfect.
Beaucoup de choses ont changé depuis votre dernier véhicule idéal. Vous avez rencontré quelqu'un. Vous avez adopté un chien. Votre meilleur ami a lui aussi rencontré quelqu'un. Vous avez découvert un nouveau passe-temps. Une nouvelle passion. Vous vous êtes senti un peu plus aventureux. Votre passion a pris une nouvelle dimension. Vous avez exploré un peu plus. Il vous fallait un véhicule à l'image de vos nouveaux besoins. Vous l'avez trouvé. La Toyota Corolla Cross. Votre nouvel idéal.
Grit. Sure, it's mud and rocks and sweat and all that. Always will be. But grit is also an idea. An idea that changes the way we see and the way we do things. With an available iForce Max hybrid powertrain, the all-new Toyota Tundra is the new definition of grit.
Attaquer les corvées, couvert de boue, de sueur, ça définit la ténacité, depuis toujours. Mais la ténacité, c'est aussi une façon de penser, qui change notre façon de voir et notre façon de faire. Avec un groupe propulseur hybride iForce Max en option, voici le tout nouveau Toyota Tundra, la ténacité redéfinie.
Boys and girls on the court for the basketball, please make way.
We're back. One more half to go, Patrick. Ontario, Quebec, 44-41 for Quebec. What a great first half.
What a great first half, and I'm looking through these box score. That pretty much tells the tale of an almost even game. One thing that stands out, Quebec 17-4 fast break points, but everything else, Ontario has a marginal lead in rebounds. Turnovers are dead even. One player on each team has scored in double figures. It's been balanced offense on both sides. Like, this is what you expect from a national championship game. You expect both teams, all their players, to be able to show up, play well, play each other even, and one great half of basketball down, hopefully one great one left to decide U17 title.
Let's talk about two statistics. Neither team shot the ball particularly well from the three-point line. Quebec, 1 for 9, I believe.
Yes.
Ontario, 3 for 11, 3 for 10. Okay, so 30%. Not bad. Not a bad percentage for 3-point. But Quebec transition points. Let's talk about that.
17 points for Quebec off the fast break. 4 for Ontario. Ontario's game not really predicated too much on the fast break. They like to run that half court. But Quebec, a lot of those were off when that press, especially, they got a little more aggressive, especially when Justice Hazley was out. That's where they created those points and created those turnovers. Whereas Ontario, they forced both teams to turn the ball over 13 times. Ontario hasn't necessarily capitalized in transition as much. So Quebec, definitely the team that can run a little bit more, and I think that's something that they're going to probably try to take more advantage of as this game moves towards its conclusion. 3-point game, though, couldn't ask for more, especially for two teams that had a 30-point difference 3 days ago.
No, it's 100% right, Patrick. So it's going to be interesting to see how these teams square off and get started in the second half of the gold medal game, and see which team is able to impose its will initially and out of the gate. In Ontario, that won't work. But they had a play in mind. They were looking for a backdoor pass right out of the gate. Didn't work. Now Ontario is going to have to face the pressure that Quebec likes to put on.
And here it is, and they will face it as the ball run into the front court. Running point is McClashin. Now he'll hand off to Justice Hazley. 11 points, leads all scorers in the first half. He'll attempt the shot, miss it, tip his own miss, and eventually the ball will trickle out of bounds and stay with Ontario basketball, fresh 14 to shoot.
Great effort by Hazley, individually penetrating, breaking down the Quebec defense, and almost getting his tip in on his missed shot.
As he will trigger the inbound, and Ontario will set up in the half court. Hensley Ward Jr. tosses it down low. With the ball now is Bagage. He'll fire up a shot long. Kosaras just straight up had the rebound, lost the handle out of bounds. That's two very uncharacteristic and sloppy turnovers from Quebec 30 seconds into this half.
Way too early to speculate too much, but you could speculate a bit that Ontario may have Quebec slightly rattled.
It certainly looks potentially the case. Again, it's a Quebec team that really hasn't gotten much of a challenge until that semifinal against BC yesterday, and they're getting more than they expected, I think, from this Ontario team. Hazley, 3, way off the mark. Kosaras rebound secured this time. Here comes Duff and the Quebec offense for the first time officially after 2 turnovers.
Quebec came out in a 2-3 zone, and it really seemed to bother Ontario.
Duff with the ball. He'll throw it out. Kosaras right wing. Nice pass underneath, and the layup finished. Scored by Servalis, who is one of several Quebec players fighting foul trouble. We'll talk about that when we have a chance. Quebec certainly the team that has bigger foul problems right now on an individual basis, but a nice pass and finish there. Quebec back up 5.
Even though Ontario had 2 opportunities off 2 turnovers, they weren't able to take advantage of it, but that's big. To hit a 3 right now, pull you back instead of being down 5. Now you're down 2, regain your confidence back. Big, big shot.
That was from New York, his second 3 of the game. He's now hit half of the Ontario 3s, and we got a 2-point ball game. Duff penetrates up and under, layup too strong, and the rebound pulled down by New York. Wasn't a starter, starts the second half, so the coach liked what he saw in the first half, and then a big block by Kosaras just absolutely denies Bagage at the rim, Quebec basketball. That's why he plays for the Canadian Youth National Team. As Quebec initiates half-court offense, Duff from the right wing penetrates, spins, kicks back out. 3-ball launched. in and out, and Hazley grabs the rebound. Not a bad look there, though. That's Tournier, another one of the Quebec players in foul trouble. Good look, but just couldn't quite hit it. To the corner it goes. McClashin penetrates, pulls back out, looks for a man, finds one. Penetrating Yorka, kind of lost the handle, but it rolls to Hensley Ward Jr. He'll penetrate, draw double, draws contact, and then misses the shot. The follow-up missed as well by Bagage, and here comes Quebec. Caceres picks up his dribble near half court, throws it out, and now Duff rotates around. All 5 Quebec players on the perimeter. Now they go in, and the layup up and missed. Bagage tips the rebound. Ward Jr. grabs the rebound, and it's fouled from behind by Quebec. That is on Faubert. That is his second. And Ontario basketball, and kind of like the first half, starts and stops, but this is not, I don't believe, the pace Quebec wants to play at.
They don't want to play at this pace, and they don't want to feel like every shot is contested the way Ontario's contesting it. They're just not comfortable right now, and for good reason. Ontario's playing great defense. Ontario hasn't been able to gain any offensive momentum either, and I think that's really kind of the tale of the game so far. Nobody's been able, after Quebec's initial surge in the first quarter, nobody's been able to get much going.
As a pull-up jumper there for Ontario fired long. That's Ize, and 2 Quebec teammates fight over the rebound, but they come away with it. And they will once again initiate offense, looking for their first field goal of the half. Caceres ball high on the right wing. He would prefer the ball lower. Stopped on the drive by Cummins. Now a kick to the corner, step back 3, well short, and the rebound comes to Ontario. And here they come in transition, 3-on-3. Ward Jr., good job to keep that one alive. New York missed the shot, and Ward Jr. just made that play both ends. He gets the tip in.
Ward Jr.'s running the court really hard, and that's creating some problems for Quebec in transition. When he gets the ball in his hands, he's really adept at attacking the basket. And now when you look at it, look how they're extending their pressure out front.
Yeah, Quebec is used to initiating that offense, I'd say, a good 10 feet closer to the three-point arc. They're being forced out near midcourt as Caceres up and under missed. Tip missed by Caceres, and here comes Hazley. And that's Cummins. Pass too far for Ward Jr., but we got a tie ball game, 6 minutes left in the third quarter. And again, whatever Quebec said at halftime, hey, we're fine, they just got punched in the mouth again, and they need to find a response because they have not looked in sync since that first quarter.
They haven't, and both teams are having a tough time taking care of the basketball and very tough time getting the shots that they want. Both teams are offensively very uncomfortable right now.
And as a defensive fan, I do like to see it. However, I don't know if the coaches share my pleasure in that, as it'll be Quebec ball. Duff will launch a 3, left wing, miss, rebound. Ward Jr. didn't have to grab it, did, saved it, and then Yorka throws it away. Back the other way, Quebec, as Ward Jr. blocks the shot in a foul, but Caceres will go to the line, but Ward Jr. pretty much did all he could there, but Quebec a chance from the line to regain the lead.
What's really standing out right now, Patrick, is like I talk about taking care of the basketball, but it's more than that. It's the defensive pressure forcing both teams who want to run, who want to get out and go, not be able to play at that pace because they're jamming the passing lanes. They're stepping in front of the defender. The defenders are stepping in front of the offensive players. There's been a lot of forced, hurried, and bad passes throughout the whole game, but particularly in the start of the third quarter.
Yeah, lots of turnovers as Caceres hits the first free throw, and interesting, we'll see as Hazley is taking a breather right now early or in the third quarter for Ontario. So let's see how Ontario handles pressure without their starting point guard. Didn't work well in his first stint, but much better the second time around. And this time they break the pressure, not too bad. As Cummins has the ball, shot fake into the lane. Ward Jr., he'll hesitate, he'll get his shot blocked, and the rebound comes to Quebec. 2 men collide on Ward Jr., and Quebec back the other way looking for transition, and instead they find a travel. Yet another turnover as, again, sloppy start.
Sloppy start, excellent transition defense by Ontario. They had 4 guys under the basket to stop that rush. So we've seen that again throughout the tournament. Teams that jog get beat. Ontario's not jogging on defense, they're sprinting.
And they sprint the other way as Yorka just splits the entire Quebec defense wide open and ties this one back up at 48.
He's really had some good moments. 2 for 2 from the 3, but a very nice take.
And 10 points now for him. He becomes the second Ontarian in double figures. And on the other end, a putback up and in, plus the foul is Toomba another one of those role players who's kind of elevated his game in this game. He's kind of been a secondary ball handler. He's hit the glass pretty well, and here he has a chance for an old school three-point play.
Love the old school three-point play. And I love it when guys can finish through contact like Tuma just did. That's again, that gives you such opportunities to extend your lead. Unfortunately, they didn't take advantage of it there, but great effort. Great effort.
That was the third foul on Eze for Ontario. He's still in the game. Layup by Niorka. He'll draw contact, and again, Niorka is the man who will have a chance to tie this game back up for Ontario. Hazley getting set to check in for Ontario as well. But again, this is all you can ask for, and this kind of goes back to how Ontario's offense was successful. Early penetration. They're once again finding their way to the hoop with ease. Comparatively, anyways.
Well, at least comparatively, and they're putting a lot of pressure on the Quebec defense because they're getting at the rim and they're forcing Quebec to try to block the shot, resulting in fouls and getting to the free throw line. And you made the comment earlier in the first half. We've seen a lot more free throw activity in this game than I've seen in any of the games thus far, not just in the championship round, but in most games in general. So that means both teams are going to the basket hard and defending hard. And I think what we have right now is kind of a grinding, it's a grind. You're a Missouri Valley Conference guy. This has got to remind you of home.
Oh, this looks like Southern Illinois epitomized, if I can throw my alma mater out there, is Brian Mullins, the point guard then. The head coach now would be very proud of both these teams' efforts. First free throw makes a chance to tie the game for Niorka, who has come off the bench to join Justice Hazley in double figures. Now he has 12. He takes over the lead of scoring for Ontario. Great bench performance for Niorka. 50-50 our score, just over halfway through. Niorka, let's keep saying his name, steal, layup blocked, but there is Cummins with the rebound, and he'll go up, and the smallest man on the court, oh, I hope he's okay, as three teammates rush to help him up. The smallest man on the court is the one crashing the glass and drawing a foul.
Great effort. Great effort on the follow-up, and that's something that we've seen from Ontario, and I think this has got to be a surprise to the Quebec team because this team did not show that kind of effort in game one.
Nope.
But now they're showing that there's no quit, and they're being gritty. They're making the little plays. They're getting the 50-50 balls. So, yeah, this has really got Quebec on its heels right now. Not that Quebec's in any danger. I mean, it's a tie ball game. But they're just having to grind. This is a grinding game right now. It's almost like, I don't want to say winning ugly because that would take away from something, but you're going to have grit and grind. And unfortunately, opportunities again missed.
That's the third time Ontario's come up completely empty on two free throws. One time they made up for it. The other two, though, have completely empty, and making them pay on the other end is Parizon, who was Quebec's only first half double-digit scorer. He's got 12 after that make. Good finish there. And into the front court comes Ontario. Here's Niorka, and he could have been out of bounds or travel. It's kind of put in a tough position on the pass, but turnover Ontario.
2-point lead. Quebec, what impresses me about Quebec is that I never sense – I've said they're rattled. I think they're affected. I think that's a better word. They're not rattled, but what they have not relented in their sense of competing too. They're just meeting a team that's ready to play, that can, for the most part, match them physically. And these two teams who are somewhat equal athletically are just going at each other.
And you can see the complete denial of Duff was pretty much the design of this full-court press. Duff not giving the ball. They force Kosaras up. That eats 7 seconds of the shot clock. Here is Duff. Now he'll toss Kosaras, rotate to the corner. Back up top to Kosaras. Now Duff. Shot fake. Step back three. In and out. Tough miss there. And then the loose ball rebound will stay with Quebec. Much better look. But as you mentioned earlier, when Ontario collapsed their entire defense down, one way to stop that happening, make a three-pointer. They're one of 13 now in the game is Quebec from three.
Well, and Duff's a good three-point shooter. He just that did everything but go to the bottom of the net. And when you have those nights as a shooter like that, like you just believe the ball is going to go in. You can see he's frustrated right now because he's getting good looks. He's just not converting. Sometimes you have those games when you're a shooter, but the key is when you're open next time, forget about the last one. You just shoot this one. That's all that matters. And I think, he's too good a player to worry about his percentage right now. Just when you're open, take the shot.
Box scores are for historians, not necessarily the players, at least in the game. That one was a 2. His foot was on the line, but either way, the jumper for Duff is not falling right now on a long pass, dangerous pass, but corralled. And another one, that one tipped as Cummins' pass was tipped and turned over. So Quebec will have a chance to extend the lead. Kosaris holds ball, right wing, penetrates middle of the floor and scores. If you give him that middle, he's going to be awfully tough to stop. Two defenders could not do it.
That was a tough take to the basket. Nice finish. Now they've extended their lead to 4, which in this game is a lot more than 4.
Yeah, 2 possessions seems like an eternity, as there is Niorka, corner 3. That one's well short. He's been on the court a while. That might have been a tired leg 3, but a rebound for Ontario. 3-ball, right wing. Ontario also off the mark. Long rebounds, almost saved by Cummins, but had a foot on the line. You love the effort, but ball will go over to Quebec.
Slight momentum shift. You don't want to call it, it's not a run, but it's a 4-point lead. Slight momentum shift favoring Quebec for the moment. Ontario seems to be struggling a little bit, finding their offense at the present time.
That was Andrew Jurasevich, who had the last attempt for Ontario. Did not play in the first half, so he's getting his first minutes and commits the foul. As Ontario goes a little bit smaller, which is interesting because, to my eyes, their best success in that first half was when they had their bigger lineups on the court, especially when they combine them with Hazley.
I think that's a good observation. I'm curious about this experiment, whether it's gonna work, because it's a big gamble right now.
I mean, as we've seen, Quebec is capable of quick runs as Duff will take a seat. Visibly frustrated at his offensive game, but his team does lead by 4, 2:40 left in the third quarter of the U17 gold medal game. To the right wing, and unselfish play. Now it comes back up. Kosaris will throw. Now left wing Charles spins into the lane, stopped, and his shot just off the mark, and Kosaris right there for the tip-in. Quiet in the first half, but that's a couple of big buckets in a row for number 10.
And a result of playing against a smaller lineup. He got inside, and he got the tip.
And Yorka wide open. Nice find there from Dixon. He had all day. He was there a solid 2 seconds before the pass even, so a good response by Ontario. Back comes Quebec, shot good, and this counts as an offensive outburst in this game, and a chance for a 3-point play as scoring on that basket for Quebec was Bassetti, who had his 6th point and a chance for a 7th.
And that's reminiscent of the shot that he took at the end of the first half, which put them up at halftime. So Bassetti read that. Now they extended the pressure, and one of the things when you extend the pressure, when you get beat, you're in trouble. You create decisions for your teammates that they don't necessarily want to make. And Bassetti he went right to the hoop, finished through contact, and converted the old-fashioned 3-point play that we've talked about.
Felix Kosaris has taken a seat on the bench. Mark it down 58-52 when he steps out, and 2 minutes to play in the third quarter. How do they respond without their best player? Here is Ontario's best player, at least in this game, Hazley. And the ball works its way around. Here is Niorka. Kick to the corner. Dixon loses the handle, gets it back. Turnaround, jump shot tough. And he rushed it in the rebound. Charles in Quebec. And danger time, I do believe, for Ontario. And that ball tipped out of bounds. It'll stay with Quebec. But this does feel like a teetering point if you're an Ontario player. And I believe the coach thinks the same because he calls timeout.
100% right, Patrick. It is a teetering point. Quebec has found it's kind of found a little bit of it's found a little bit of momentum, but it's coming through their ability to defend. And you also have to say, Ontario has a lot of size. They didn't have a lot of size on the court, and they paid for it. So you take your chances, and you pays your dues, you takes your chances, and that's exactly what they did. And they took a chance, and it didn't work. Now they're down 7. Lots of time left. 1 minute 37 seconds in the third quarter. One more quarter to go. However, you don't want to get down 10 to Quebec because it's hard to go on runs against them.
They did it once, the comeback from the early first quarter deficit, but then that clock starts to shrink and that panic starts to set in, or not panic, but maybe the acceleration of thought where you just might go a half second too soon. And basketball timing can be everything. And just those little things. So, yeah, Ontario definitely, I would say, needs a response. If they can cut this within 4-ish points by the end of the quarter, I think that would be a big win for Ontario.
Yeah, you're right. If they can get around 5, they'll be fine. But if they're down 10, 12, they got their work cut out for them. Quebec, again, they're just so talented, and they've got explosiveness that Ontario right now does not possess. They've got a couple of guys that can really go off, and Ontario has played admirably thus far, but admirably doesn't win basketball games. You've got to execute, got to take care of the basketball, you've got to control the glass, which they did a good job in the first half. Now they got to keep that momentum going in the second.
Eze back into the game, but a big dunk there. That is slammed down by Tournier, who has another turnover there, and here comes the Quebec run as a turnover there, and Charles looking for a foul. He drew contact, but a big dunk by Tournier, who's had 3 first-half fouls, has not picked up his 4th yet, and he emphasizes that with a big dunk on the offensive end.
Again, Ontario curiously going very small.
Yeah, they have Niorka out there and Eze, both I would call threes, and no other forwards as Hazley penetrates, misses. Eze, though, with the rebound, put back, he misses, and that's a shot you have to make in this game. And back comes Quebec, trying to get back to a double-digit lead as they will penetrate in. Parizon misses the shot, tipped out, finds a Quebec arm. Now it swings to the left wing as Charles will kick it up top. Long 3 launched and Quebec has started to put their footprint on this game. Bassetti, big 3, only their 2nd of the game.
Second, but you got to keep, if you're a shooter, shoot it. He did.
Dixon with the layup, and it was a 50-50 call. They opted not to call the block or the charge, and down is Bassetti, who was the one trying to draw that charge, and I think he bumped his head after he hit the ground, and you hope it's just a little stinger and nothing more serious. Especially in these days with the awareness of head injuries. You never want to see anything like that, especially in a young 16, 17-year-old. So we hope that Bassetti is okay. But a big basket on the other end for Ontario regardless.
Well, it's still a 10-point lead for Quebec. That was a nice surge by Quebec to end the quarter. We talked about that. Can Ontario get it under 5? But they weren't, obviously, and Quebec was able to capitalize on a couple of opportunities that they have. I think really what's going to make the difference right now, and it's going to be curious to see, this will be a coaching decision. Are they going to stay small? I would sense what they're trying to do is force turnovers and try to speed the pace up. Hasn't worked so far. Quebec's been able to figure it out and maintain their composure and starting to hit some shots and use their superior size on the inside to score.
And let's see who's coming back. Still no Hensley Ward Jr.
I saw him being worked on the bench. I think it was his ankle was being worked on.
Okay, hopefully, again, he is okay. And also Hazley's going to take a seat probably just to rest this last 40 seconds before the end of the quarter. But this is definitely an interesting time if you're an Ontario player, coach, or fan. As full court pressure, it's a pretty good one, and they forced the turnover. Loose pass by Charles intended for Duff out of bounds.
So that's why they went small.
Hey, it works.
It worked. It worked really well. They got the setup they wanted, and they forced the turnover.
And good ups there for Ontario, trying to get back within single digits before we enter our final quarter of play. 64-54 Quebec, 38 seconds and change before the end of the third quarter. Inbound triggered by Cummins. He will find Dixon. Hand back off to Cummins, 11 to shoot. They ask for the screen. Now they finally initiate the offense. Cummins goes left wing, has no help. Now Dixon will penetrate through 2, layup and in, and what looked like a dead play ends up in 2 points for Ontario.
Now, if you're Quebec, do you have to get it over half court, of course, but you go for the last shot. You've got the shot clock. You just go for the last shot. Typically, teams, if they've got a good shot, they're going to take it. I think it'd be wise on their part this time to use the clock and just get the one last shot. They've got the lead. They don't want to give anything up for transition for Ontario.
And that looks to be the case as Duff will be the ball handler. He's the one. Now he'll hand it off. With the ball is Tournier. He'll go right wing. Penetration in. Floater way off the mark. Long rebound corralled by Tournier. Oh, man, and a bailout foul with 0.1 seconds on the clock, and that might even be a 3. He just kind of tried to throw the ball up into the air, and the refs call the foul, and Tournier will be on the line. They call it for 2. Either way, though, big call and big free throws coming up for Tournier.
It was the right call, I guess. That had no chance of going in. 0.1 second, it was a desperation throw. Yeah.
But if you're Ontario, no need to challenge. Stay straight up.
100%. Yeah, that's correct. It's one of those. I wish the whistle would have been swallowed. To be honest, I just don't see why. a shot that has no. Anyway, that's me.
It's a moot point. It was called. The free throws are made, and we are at the end of 3 quarters of play. 66-56 our score. Quebec with the lead. 2 points becomes 10 points. 3-point lead becomes a 10-point lead. What does Ontario need to do for a chance for a comeback?
Well, it's interesting. They've sacrificed anything resembling an inside game right now. They're looking to extend the pressure. And as they were successful in one of the last possessions in forcing a turnover, that appears what the coaching staff feels they need to do is force turnovers, get transition baskets. Hasn't worked yet. And the problem is if you get the ball, unless you get a transition basket, now you have a much smaller team playing against an equally athletic but much bigger team in the half court. And I think that's difficult. So I think what Ontario has to do, in my opinion, is go back to being Ontario, the Ontario they were in the first half. And I think they've gone away from that. And I don't think that's worked well in their favor. So play a little bigger. What the heck? I mean, until the last 3, that's only the second 3 that Quebec's made. They're beating you in transition, and they're beating you in the paint. So I think Ontario, like I said, return to what was working best for you earlier and see how that goes.
Now, Benali Basil, to emphasize that point, started the tournament as a starter. One of their bigger players had a decent 3-minute shift in the first half. Hasn't seen the court in this half. Bagage had a cameo appearance in this half, but that 6'10" forward hasn't seen the court, so he's at about 10 minutes or so for the game. So, yeah, they have by far the biggest team at this tournament, but interesting that the size not necessarily being utilized. Hensley Ward Jr. may be the exception there. Hopefully he's okay because he does provide that quickness as well as the size, but looking at their huddle, he is not in the starters lineup on the bench, so I don't know what his issue is. I didn't see the injury.
But they sure
don't know. Yeah, they sure do.
They sure do that. And I think if you're Quebec, you just stay the course. What you're doing is working really well. They're looking to attack the basket. That's working very, very well. They're looking to take advantage of their size. That's working very well. They've had a tip in. They've had a hard drive to the basket for a dunk. But Ontario is still staying small, and they're going to take this route to try to be disruptive as defenders and go with small ball.
Ize, their biggest player, at 6'6" on the court.
Looks like Ward is up right now, standing on the sideline.
Yeah, you give it a go. I mean, worst case, yeah, he's going to check in soon. Credit to Sean Duff, who handles the ball. Hazley has been almost a non-factor in that third quarter, and Duff's been the primary defender. So his shot's not falling, but his defense has been great.
He's just a smart basketball player.
And here, penetrating with the layup blocked. That was Tournier, and it was blocked by Ize, who is playing as the de facto 5 right now as primarily a small forward/guard. Dixon loses the handle and also bowls over his man, and a charge and a hefty one drawn by Tournier, who got hit on the other end on the shot, and then comes right back and draws contact.
You got to love that. You love the coast-to-coast players. They make a mistake on one end, or something doesn't go their way on one end. They're back on the other end, and they just change the flow of the game.
All right, Hensley Ward Jr. has re-entered the action. How effective will he be? What is his injury? We will watch, but good press here, but broken, and here comes Kosaras in Quebec into the front court. Hesitation, and that allows the recovery from the defender. That was Mark Dike, who denied the open layup, running seemingly from half court when that pass was released. Quebec ball out of bounds, 16 to shoot. They will throw the ball in up top. Tournier will handle the ball. Quiet in the first half, a big factor in the second half. Still playing with 3 fouls, which all came in half number 1. Kosaras was also good in the third quarter. Step back 3 over Ward Jr. No. Ize, good rebound there. And back comes Ontario.
Ontario's got to make a move. They've got to at least start showing Quebec that they can score, and that won't do it.
Nope. Miscommunication there as Ward Jr. had cut to the basket, and they threw to the corner for the 3 out of bounds.
That's one of those passes that, you can forgive a bit because of, just not playing together very much. But if there's a truism right now in sport, you should always have someone in the corner for the three-point shot. And to go in to follow the ball like that was the mistake. As a player, you're going to expect that to happen. Nice transition, broke the press.
Yeah, easy basket Tournier. I mean, that was flawless execution on a press break.
It really was. And you have to really question then, is your press going to be able to beat a good team like Quebec?
And right now the answer has been no. Three-pointer launch by Cummins, no, but a good rebound by Ize, who is playing beyond his size on the inside right now. Now a three-ball launch and a huge contact, no foul drawn, but Ontario gets the rebound. Now Cummins will draw contact, and he'll finally go to the line, but it sure looked like DK got absolutely clobbered on the three. Regardless, Ontario gets 2 foul shots.
There's just some sequences that you watch and you just don't quite get, and that was one of them. But Ontario never quit. There were like 2 or 3 times it seems like where everybody stopped because they expected a whistle to blow because there was so much contact, but it didn't, and Ontario hung in there. So now they get 2 free throws, and we'll see if this will be able to bring them back to a 10-point deficit.
Free throw line has been an Achilles heel in this game for Ontario, but Cummins had a beautiful first shot. He'll try to cut the lead back to 10. He does. Oh, man. That is a good stroke from the line for number 1 of Ontario. Hazley still on the bench for Ontario. As of now, 8:15 to go in the championship. 68-58 Quebec. Now penetrating is Quebec, spinning in. A good job. Number 5, again, Jurasevich didn't play in the first half. He gets his second appearance in this, and he knocks that ball out of bounds, preventing a layup off the strip. Quebec ball, 9 to shoot. Inbound will be triggered.
One note, Hensley Ward is back in the game.
As Tournier now with the ball, he'll penetrate, pull up, free throw line jumper, no. Long rebound, hey, say his name, and then he will get the rebound, Hensley Ward Jr., and he looks like his movement looks pretty good, at least on that rebound. As Jurasevich draws a double, he'll kick inside. Ize now back to Jurasevich, corner 3 from the right, and good. Jurasevich, for a guy who sat the entire first half, has had an outsized impact on this one. Ontario within 7, 68-61.
He's made a couple of good defensive plays. Now he knocks down the big 3. All of a sudden, there's hope again.
7:30 to play. Quebec by 7, but they led by 12 just a minute ago. Ontario hanging around in the gold medal U17 game. Caceres holds right wing. Duff, good ball fake, but a good job by Cummins not to bite. Now the ball works itself up top. Oof. Tough play there and stripped by Ize, but recovered by Quebec. And a shot clock violation as Ize stripped all but caused that. And look how pumped he is. He, another player, not scoring, but playing as the de facto center, is playing really, really well right now.
He is right now. High energy, tough rebounder, both on the offensive and defensive side. He's going after everything. So you need that kind of energy. So we have momentum right now for Ontario. If they can hit a shot now, that will change how I think this game is going to end up.
The crowd gets into it. Ward Jr. inside, layup blocked. Caceres layup though again as Ward Jr. follows the miss and scores. Ontario within 5. How much did they miss Hensley Ward Jr.? The answer is most definitely a lot.
A lot, and he has added again energy to this lineup. They believe again.
And the trap comes at half court, forces the pickup. Duff handles the point, and again Quebec is forced to initiate from well above from where they would like. Tournier with the ball. Hands off. Caceres, left hand into the lane, guarded by Ward Jr. Nice spin move. Caceres throws it up and in, and that was just a real pro play.
Savvy, yeah, that's a good way to put it. That was a pro play.
Quebec restores some order, back up 7. Both the U15 teams are up in it, and this is an atmosphere for a gym that's about a third full. That sure feels like it's full. 3-point launch. Giroka, no good. Rebound Duff, and here comes Quebec. Duff, long pass into the front court. Tournier takes it in. He'll lay it up and miss. And the rebound, Jurasevich, who was the one on defense, did just enough to bother the shot. Now here comes Cummins. Layup. Good as he passed up the open corner 3, but he'll score. And Ontario within 5.
Teams from all across the country are picking sides right now. This is tremendous.
I love it. All the teams still here, even if they were eliminated yesterday, as a trap by Tournier. He'll find Duff. As everyone is into this game, this is an outstanding atmosphere to conclude 58 games of basketball. Caceres penetrates and scores, and that's why he plays for the national team.
There's no doubt about it. These are 2 pro plays that they've made. So.
Oh, how about that pass? Ward Jr. with the slam off the feed from Cummins. Oh, my goodness. Hensley Ward Jr. was missed. Timeout, Quebec, 5-point game. 5 minutes to go.
I'll tell you what, Patrick. This is like a completely different basketball game that just started in the fourth quarter when teams started running across the track, picking their sides, making noise. Ontario has responded. What a great national championship we're part of.
This is an absolutely stunning game. We thought on paper the 15s game might be the better, closer matchup. We were wrong, happily wrong. This is a phenomenal game.
Well, it really is. And we thought maybe Quebec had pulled away enough, 12-point lead going into the fourth. Ontario's narrowed it down to 5, playing very, very well, confidently, and what I love is that teams are having a lot of fun. And I hope it just stays fun. I hope it doesn't become something other than harmless fun. This is just tremendous.
And I'm sure the coaches in the huddle, hey guys, great game, but also you get a technical foul, you get an intentional foul or whatever, that could be the difference, and you do not want that momentum swing. So the coaches, I'm sure, are imploring their young men to stay calm.
100%. I couldn't agree with you more. So you've got a new Ontario team in terms of belief coming on the floor, and you've got Quebec having to play through a lot of noise that they weren't used to. So both teams have pressure put on them, and the game is elevated since the fans have started cheering so loudly.
Ward Jr. has taken a seat again. I wonder if he's just getting a brief breather. Again, he seems to be dealing with some kind of issue, but when he's been on the court, he's been good. 72-65, 5 minutes to go. 67, and Kosaras again. They've got to find an answer because otherwise Quebec's going to go right back to that well time and again.
Yeah, well, I mean, how can you lose that player in full court? And they did. That was too bad.
He should be drawing doubles pretty much the entire court. Cummins penetrates, misses, and draws the foul. Smallest player on the court once again heads to the line. And again, Cummins, Hazley, not Hazley Jr., but Hazley has been quiet this half, but Cummins has kind of picked up the slack in terms of running the point.
100%. Small player, big heart. He's playing with a tremendous amount of heart, going fearlessly at the rim into the big Quebec defenders. Drawing the foul, now we get at the free throw line where Ontario's had some struggles, so this is really critical.
Cummins hit his last 2. Ontario as a whole, though, shooting roughly 50% from the line, and Cummins, though, has not been the problem. That is a pure stroke from the line, despite a solid 50-60 players chanting in his face.
I'll tell you what, that's butter. That is just lovely. That is a lovely stroke.
You can't teach it, and again, 4 for 4 in pressure free throws. Not too bad for a 16-year-old kid.
Not too bad at all. So we got 74-69, 4:45 to go. Ontario making a couple of strategic moves right now.
And Ward Jr. back into the game is one of them. Tough contact off ball as Uroka denied Duff the basketball, and it will be initiated instead by Bassetti, who has been quiet lately but has been an impact player throughout. Duff, left wing, thought about the 3, doesn't take it. Bassetti with the ball, back to Duff. Another shot fake, denied the penetration. Looks for Kosaras, finds Kosaras. Layup is no good. Layup, though, off the offensive rebound, put back, and that is Parizon, who was the leading scorer in the first half, finally finds his first bucket of half number 2. This is a national championship indeed. Loose ball. Oh, my goodness. Uroka almost paid the price, and he's lucky that ball was kicked the length of the court because that was a jog back. You've been talking all night about sprint, and that looked like a lazy play that almost cost 2.
Yeah, I don't think he expected Quebec to come after it so hard, but they have to come after it. They have to go after everything like it means everything. They've got 10 seconds on the shot clock, 8 seconds to get over half court.
Here is Cummins. I don't know if he knows there's 3 seconds. Now he does. He's got to find space. Kicks it off. Ward Jr. 3. It came too late. And 3 is good. One referee counted it, and the correct call was made by the other official. That shot came too late, and a tough break for Ontario.
That was a tough break. Unfortunate. And of course, those are the shots that always go in, that are right after the shot clock. Well, that was an interesting possession. But I think overall, Ontario was within a hair's breadth of hitting a 3 and getting back in the game. Now they need to make a stop. This is a big possession.
Justice Hazley back in for Ontario as well. Their top 5 out. Quebec's top 5 out. Charles swings. Parizon penetrates, spins, picks up. Kosaras, who's been immense in the last 3 minutes, drives left hand of the lane. Oh, man. Feet might have been in the area. Trying to draw the charge there was number 3. That's McGlashan, and they call it the other way. Kosterus will get 2 free throws. Again, we wish we had replay to watch the feet placement because he looked set. Otherwise, I just think his heels might have been in the arc.
I think it was the slap on the ball when he was attacking. Because I agree with you. I think that would have been a charge if that hadn't happened prior to the contact on the ball.
And you are correct on that, as that foul goes on Yorka, not on the player drawing the charge. So tough break there. Kosterus hits free throw 1. He hits free throw 2, and Quebec back up 9, 78-69.
Boy, is he a special player. He's just special. The way he has been able to really put the team on his shoulders and build this lead up for him has been so impressive.
Hazley into the lane, blocked, and that one was by Charles. And back comes Quebec, and this could be a dagger if they could get a basket here. And they'll pick the dribble up, though, and now Duff will initiate the offense. Guarded by Hazley, left into the lane. Floater bothered and fouled by Ward Jr. Duff to the line. Not the offensive impact I think he would want, but he has a chance to establish a double-digit lead. And we have a timeout called by Ontario, and needed one.
They need one. They need it both for rest and for strategy, because this is it. Like the game's on the border of being out of reach anyway. I have to give Quebec a ton of credit, Patrick, because they've had to win in a completely different way than they've had to win all week. They've just been able to roll over everybody. So here they are in a gritty, tough battle. They've hit tough shots. And you know what's really impressive is when it came to crunch time, they went to their best players. And they said, you take us there. And they do. They finish like pros. And it just is really, really impressive. Now, I have to say, after 54 games, to end a tournament with this kind of atmosphere is spectacular.
I've done NCAA games. I've done high-level high school games in the States, and this rivals any of those atmospheres. This is awfully fun. And again, most of the noise you're hearing is from the U15 teams and the U17 teams that are no longer playing, but they're all here. I see Prince Edward Island, whose U15 teams played their last game yesterday at 9 a.m., and they're here. They're not going to get a trophy, but they're going to be part of the presentation, and they're part of this wonderful atmosphere of just a terrific title game.
Well, and what, we talk about making memories and doing something special. This is something special. You can sit in your seats and do nothing, or you can try to impact the game as a fan. And to see the players rally behind the provinces that they want to cheer for is really fun.
Free throw for Duff, good. You would expect that from the co-captain of Quebec. Smooth, hasn't hit the threes, but he hits the big free throw. Quebec back up 10.
He's a player. Every good player has games that they aren't at their peak. But it's what you do overall. He's never stopped defending. He's never stopped trying to make the right pass. And then he nails 2 free throws when you need them. Give Quebec an 11-point lead.
Been a big part of silencing Justice Hazley, who had 11 first-half points, 2 in the second half. He has it guarded by Duff. This time he gets around. Layup is in, and he went around Duff and over Kosterus. Tough shot for Hazley.
Tough shot, tough finish, gutsy player. I just really admire what this Ontario team has done, given the way they were thrashed and came together.
Oh my goodness, a big slam by Parizon, who had all day on the left wing, and a big exclamation mark for Quebec. Back up 11, 82-71, 2:30 to play. This is just fun.
The last athlete I saw do that here was Lugens Dort in 2014. He's that same kind of athlete. Now, I'm not saying he's the same player, but he's that same kind of athlete.
Duff the other way off his own steal, misses the layup. His teammate picks him up, though. Charles the rebound putback, and that might be a big first nail in Ontario's coffin, a chance to make it a 14-point game with a good free throw.
Again, tale of 2 games. When these fans started cheering, the energy level and the intensity went up markedly, noticeably. And both teams were energized, and both teams started making big plays. But now it's been Quebec that has been able to string together more big plays at critical times.
I need to correct myself. It's not Charles, it's Serverless with that, as the missed free throw, and Ward Jr. will tie up. And we do have a little of extracurriculars there. Teammates get in to break it up, though, and it will be Ontario basketball off the held ball.
kind of indicative of the emotion that's running through the gym right now. So
you would hope so in a national title game.
Absolutely. Everything's on the line, and the atmosphere says that.
3-ball, New York corner, no good. Rebound too long for Eze. Finds the hands of, who else? Picaceres, who I think if Quebec holds on is probably the MVP of this tournament. Parizon kicks to the corner. Servulis, Duff. Duff, a little stiff arm there. He'll give the ball up. Loose handle. Duff gets the ball back. 8 seconds to shoot. Quebec content to run clock. Duff picks his dribble up, though. Servulis launches a 3. No good. Rebound, Hazley. Ontario has to score. Here comes Hazley into the front court. Beats his man. Beats another man. Picks up the dribble. Ward Jr., free throw line jumper, good. 2 big players making a big play. Might be too late, but Ontario not going away. Back within 11. Now they get a turnover. Here comes Ward Jr. off the deflection from Cummins. Yorka penetrates, finger roll, no good. Tips his own rebound, gets his own rebound, throws it up, misses, blocked from behind, and eventually Quebec finally comes up with the ball.
Great effort, but great defense by Quebec, making the big plays.
3 players combined. Now here's Duff with the 3, left wing, good. And that's got to feel good for a player who was cold all game, but he hits it when it counts. And Quebec is going to be your champions, up 14, less than a minute to go. Back the other way, Eze 3. Solid answer. And Ontario's at least keeping the score respectable.
Well, give them credit. 45 seconds, and now we got the
oh, my goodness. Servulis just posterizes New Yorka. And a big shot there. And, fans got to be careful. Quebec's U15 team is running onto the court. We still got 41 seconds, and we might be getting technical fouls. This is where the emotions got to calm down just a little bit. You don't want this to get out of hand. It's a safety issue as well as kind of a sportsmanship issue.
It's a safety issue, and it's an immature response. But, you're excited. The guy just had a posterized dunk. It was spectacular.
SportsCenter's next after that.
Yeah, that was something.
Servulis, there's absolutely special play. And we got a whole now. The entire non-Ontario contingent has now switched sides to Quebec.
Would that be fair weather fans at their finest? I have never seen fans switching sides like I've just seen right now. This is, I don't even know how you explain this. This is hilarious.
I mean,
now talk about like you've lost your last friend, the poor Ontario U15 team.
Well, they're champions, so on their own right. So I think the 15s will be okay.
They'll be fine.
But, yeah, that is absolutely hilarious as the entire really Canadian contingent switches sides.
That is so. That is great. I guess that's what a dunk can do.
I mean, to be fair, that's the 3rd, 4th NBA-level jam, and that one happened to posterize up, unfortunately, New Yorka, who's been one of the best players for Ontario. But you want it all. I've never seen dunks like this at this level. Again, we go back to how the game has evolved. This athleticism, 16 and 17-year-olds are throwing down NBA-caliber dunks. That's just absolutely incredible.
Explosive to see this much athleticism on display in this game, in amongst all of the skill. And that's the thing that I like to see. It's a blend of skill and athleticism. It's not just athleticism. This is very, very impressive, and Quebec is a very impressive team.
Absolutely, the team of the tournament for on the U17 level beat a very game BC team in what was an equally competitive semifinal as a 3-ball launched and missed by Ontario, and Tournier is going to be fouled, and that will put him on the line for bonus free throws. But the writing is on the wall, but you cannot hang your heads if you're Ontario. This effort by them was absolutely outstanding, a 180 from what we saw 3 days ago.
Well, absolutely. 180 in terms of effort and execution, and it really forced Quebec to play at their best. They haven't had to do that. Nope. They've been running everybody over like a freight train. They had to be a solid basketball team tonight to win, and they have been. They've answered the call. There's no doubt about who the best team is in the U17 group.
Absolutely not, and it's been a plethora of players, to use one of my favorite words. It's been a Caceres. Duff's had his moments, his 1-and-1 free throws as Caceres gets the rebounds. Tournier's had his time. Servulis, obviously, with the highlight reel plays. This is just a very well-balanced team, that has put together just a complete tournament, and they're going to walk away with a national championship as a result. Another name, Parizon, who carried them in a slow first half, ends up with 16 points at this point. Hazley will initiate one last offensive possession as Ward Jr. will launch a corner three, no good, and rebounded by Kosaris, and that should just about do it. Time's going to run out. Quebec is your U17 national champions of Canada. 92-76 our final. What a game.
What a game. What a display of just raw athleticism combined, like I've been saying, with high-level basketball skill. There's no mystery why all of these players on Quebec have Division I scholarship offers. They're Division I athletes. They're Division I players. But the sportsmanship on display between the teams got a little testy down towards the end. That's fine. National championship. But the fun that the fans had, as long as it just stays that way at fun, this is great. Patrick, this has been an absolute pleasure to work with you for the past 27 hours. For the 4 games today, it's been a real pleasure.
And likewise, Paul, this has just been fun. Thank you for having me as part of this, and congratulations, Ontario's U15s, BC's U15s for second, Alberta's U15s for third, BC for third place here, Ontario for second, and Quebec, your U17 champions. Those are your 6 medalists. What a tournament. Your final thoughts on this outstanding week of basketball?
Well, we dubbed Edmonton to be Hoop City, Canada, and we have been that. 3x3 phasing into national championships. Nothing has been disappointing about it at all. This lived up to and exceeded its billing. We saw a great basketball game, 2 great teams, a tremendous comeback by Ontario. So fitting into a great event, and we're going to have a wonderful awards ceremony afterwards. So your vote for MVP?
Felix Kosaris. It has to be the way he took over that game from the end of it. He's just too good. It was up in the air, but he really put his mark on that second half.
He did. He really did. When they needed it, when Quebec needed it, he did what they did. He took an outstanding team, but put him on his shoulders and decided, I'm going to win this. I'm going to break this open, and he did.
Yes, he did, and that is how we wrap things up. Quebec 92, Ontario 76. Quebec wins U17 gold as we wrap things up from the Saville Center. He's Paul Sir. I'm Patrick Erickson. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope to see you again soon. Again, Quebec, your U17 national champions. Ontario wins U15. So long. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you again soon.
A lot has changed since you got your last perfect vehicle. You met someone. You got a dog. Your best friend met someone too. You got new interests. A new hobby. You felt a little more adventurous. You found a bigger hobby. You explored a little more. You needed a vehicle that reflected the new you. You found it. The all-new Toyota Corolla Cross. Your new perfect.
Beaucoup de choses ont changé depuis votre dernier véhicule idéal. Vous avez rencontré quelqu'un. Vous avez adopté un chien. Votre meilleur ami a lui aussi rencontré quelqu'un. Vous avez découvert un nouveau passe-temps, une nouvelle passion. Vous vous êtes senti un peu plus aventureux. Votre passion a pris une nouvelle dimension. Vous avez exploré un peu plus. Il vous fallait un véhicule à l'image de vos nouveaux besoins. Vous l'avez trouvé. La Toyota Corolla Cross, votre nouvel idéal.
Grit. Sure, it's mud and rocks and sweat and all that. Always will be. But grit is also an idea. An idea that changes the way we see and the way we do things. With an available iForce Max hybrid powertrain, the all-new Toyota Tundra is the new definition of grit.
Attaquer les corvées, couvert de boue, de sueur, ça définit la ténacité, depuis toujours. Mais la ténacité, c'est aussi une façon de penser, qui change notre façon de voir et notre façon de faire. Avec un gros propulseur hybride iForce Max en option, voici le tout nouveau Toyota Tundra, la ténacité redéfinie.
And now to present shocked how small this group is, that have worked so hard over the last months, weeks, days, and hours to make this event possible. So to my great staff, to the great staff at Alberta Basketball, thank you so much. And now for the presentation of the awards, I'm going to turn the microphone over to the General Manager of Alberta Basketball, Jeff Bailey. One more time for all the teams, everyone. We're going to begin with the bronze medal presentation, starting with the 15-unit age group. When we call the team down, we'd like the team to come and line up on this yellow line right here in front of the score tables. Starting with bronze medalists, home province, Team Alberta. Team Alberta is represented by number 1, Idiakosi Oklahoma. Number 3, Lamar Mohammed. Number 5, Lothar Lawai. Number 7, Jake Rochella. Number 8, Alexandra Lalibol. Number 13, Brooks Bakar. Number 14, Anthony Brady. Number 15, Patrick Aramali. Number 20, Anthony Lawley. Number 21, Jibu Apu. And number 23, Sarah Johnson. And number 24, Kurt Stelmar. Alternates were not here tonight are Daniel Chijoki and Xavier Castillion. Head coaches Neil Nystrom, assistant coaches Matt Hale, Nathan Kravetsky, and Ken Huska. Bronze medalist, Team Alberta. Thank you. And now let's bring down the silver medalist from Team British Columbia. Team British Columbia, number 0, Dan Morser. Number 1, Anthony Green. Number 2, Jordan Franklin. Number 5, Benjamin Murphy. Number 6, Sean Antonetti. Number 7, Tyler Phillips. Number 8, Justin Anderson. Number 10, Navin Sanu. Number 11, Nolan Marks. Number 12, Nancy Bakari. Number 13, Logan Stewart. And our head coaches, Matthew McKay, Anthony Zenzele. Thank you, Team BC. Now let's bring down our gold medalist from Team Ontario. Starting with number 1, David Edmonton. Number 2, Jordan Charles. Number 3, Caleb Roberts. Number 4, Monte Jones. Number 5, Michael Reed. Number 7, Bennett White. Number 8, Quinton F. Number 9, Phoenix Weiss. Number 10, Wayne Smith Jr. Number 11, Alexander Muncie. Number 12, Oliver Jordan. Number 14, Kwame Gonzalez. Head coach Ron Green, assistant coaches Octavio Pueblo, and assistant coach Davidson Samuels. And now for the presentation of the championship plaque. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2022 national champion with the medalist from Team Ontario. All right, let's keep this going, everyone. Let's bring down the 17 bronze medalists from Team British Columbia. Starting with number 4, Mikhail Maloyak. Number 5, Irish Makia. Number 6, Griffin Arnett. Number 7, Isaac Brown. Number 8, Matt Semenya. Number 9, Torrance Hooker. Number 10, Will Highland. Number 11, Torian Lee. Number 12, Malcolm Tyler. Number 13, Mason Carlson. Number 14, Cole Peppery. And number 15, Jeremiah Francis. Head coach James Blake, assistant coach Mike McKay, manager Brian Lee, and apprentice Ruby Dahia. Thank you, Team BC. Now we're going to call down the silver medalist from Team Ontario. National champion, Team Quebec. Number 5, Pablo Carvajal. Number 6, Christopher Kucheka-Pazan. Number 7, Sean Sheldon. Number 8, Joshua Lucas. Number 9, Jimmy Capando-Tua. Number 10, Feliz Gonzalez. Number 11, Sean Charles. Number 12, Sean Nicholas Bissett. Number 13, Saber Cerillas. Number 14, Roy Gilpin. Number 15, Ludovic Ternier. Number 23, Stefan Dussault. Head coach, Pierre Seiya. Assistant coach, Hugo Boswell. And assistant coach, Alejandro Rascani. Thank you, Team Quebec. And one more time, I'll make a round of applause for all the medalists today. Now to present first and second team All-Stars. I turn the mic back over to Paul Sir, Executive Director. These selections were made by Canada Basketball after watching everybody play all week, and I know these were very, very difficult selections to make. So I'm going to start with the second team All-Stars, then go to the first team, and then we'll announce the MVP. So as I call your name, if you can come down and join us. For the U15, second team All-Stars from Manitoba, number 2, Magnus Carlos. From New Brunswick, number 7, Jacob Christie. From Quebec, number 3, Promise Delano. From Prince Edward Island, number 10, Raymond Glenn. Scotia, number 11, Caden Christoph. From Manitoba, number 10, Gio Adiyama. From New Brunswick, number 11, Zachary Jewell. From Saskatchewan, number 13, Osagi Okamura. And from Ontario, number 3, Darius McLaughlin. The first team All-Stars for the U17. From Alberta, number 18, Nate Waldron. From British Columbia, number 5, Irish Sophia. From Ontario, number 8, Hensley Ward Jr. From Quebec, number 6, Christopher Shaka-Parizo. Also from Quebec, number 10, Felix Cosmas. your tireless efforts and work. This is a big job for all of us, and we couldn't have done it without them. Thank you both very much. Two more things and I'm done. Okay? To the players, thank you for bringing your passion, your effort, your sportsmanship, your energy. Without you, we don't have a game. It's great to be back. It's great to see you all getting along, on and off the court. Look forward to seeing you next year. Please give yourselves a round of applause. And finally,